Supercar, Shawnee checking in once again for Drive Nation. So what we're doing today, well, I've been fortunate enough to have this lovely McLaren GT for the last day. Took my 570S in for a service, and they very kindly offered me use of this McLaren GT. So I've had this. I was driving it all day yesterday, and you know, it was a great car to kind of drive, so I thought, why not do a bit of a kind of a car review sort of video. Now, before we jump in there really quick, I know that there's lots of people, very professional people out there that have done car videos, and this is not going to be on par with any of those at all, but I'm going to do my best, you know, to give it a go. I've not done any research on the car. I've no details, any of the specs. I don't even know the exact costings and things. I just know it's a bit more than mine. But I thought I'd do a bit of a different sort of review, in the sense that I already obviously own a 570S myself, so I've got you know, quite a few months under my belt in terms of driving that in experience. So I thought it'd be quite interesting, kind of do a bit of a video on my views of you know, of how this car compares to my own. So to be able to do that, I've got to put on my serious hat, because I shouldn't be doing too many jokes really this one. So here we go, we've got my serious hat on now. So we're going to get into serious mode and talk about some serious stuff with the car. Now, if my accent and my monotone voice is really boring you to death, I'm going to save you the hassle of having to watch this video, so I don't know how long it's going to go on for. So I'll just cut straight to the chase. It's a great car, okay? So that's the ultimate answer. It's a great car. So therefore, if that's all you need to know, then you can switch off now, and you don't need to view anything else. So there you go. If you're still with me, then great. Thank you very much for bearing me and putting up with the rest of what we've got to go through right now. But I'll do my best to keep this as informative as possible. So where do we start? Well, probably the outside of the car is probably the best place to start. It's obviously the styling of the car is massively different to the current sports series. It's very kind of more conservative, let's say, a little bit less fast car magazine, and kind of a bit more sort of classic car, or more traditional in terms of supercar sort of styling. I can't help thinking, you know, the more I kind of look at the car, it's got a lot of kind of similarities to the likes of McLaren 430, which is obviously not an ugly car in itself, and probably a little bit of Aston Martin maybe thrown in. And the more I kind of look at that and bear that in mind, it kind of gives me more of an impression of maybe who this car is really aimed at. Now, obviously, I've not, as I said before, I've not read any of the kind of literature for this magazine, but sorry, for this car, but you know, the one question kind of, you know, I've been asking myself is this car, you know, something that I would, you know, look to own in, you know, now or in the future? And you know, I think I do know how to answer that question now. One of the great things I like in terms of the external styling of this car is these huge air intakes that are on the side. When you're looking at these things through the rear view mirror, that it's like you sat on the back of a shark. You know, they really kind of look very meaty, and like, you know, they're sucking in everything that they can get in terms of air into that engine bay in the back. And I do like those. You know, they're really good. And these smaller kind of air intakes that are on the top as well, you know, all help obviously with the airflow. And really kind of do, you know, remind people that even maybe on the outside it kind of doesn't really have that much of an aggressive stance. It's certainly got what it takes when it's you know, in terms of the engine side of it and performance. So as I said earlier, I had this car all day yesterday, and one thing I kind of found is that even though the colour is not exactly going to be my choice of colour, it still stands out from the crowd. You know, you park this in a car park and people will still stop and stare and have a look. So it's got that sort of curbside appeal still, which is obviously a great thing for a supercar owner. Obviously one of the big features of the GT is the fact that it's marketed as a GT car, so you've got more storage space in the back. Now obviously the amount of storage space you've got over a normal sort of 570 coupe, it's not massive. But you know, every little helps, and there's, you know, in the back of here, there's, you know, you're not going to really get a suitcase in there, if I'm honest, but you're going to get, you know, quite a few extra bits and pieces, and you know, I think you know, it's a great addition. You know, it's a great addition to that. As you can probably see, there's no there's no access to that engine bay under there, so it's very much that's all hidden away. There is an engine in there, but it's certainly not for showing off. You know, when I remember when I had my R8, you know, the engine bay is a lovely feature of that car, and it's all lit up and looks very pretty. But you know, you're not going to be doing that in one of these. But again, it's a different market. Other features that's quite nice on the outside. I like the sweeping indicators it's got. Again, very much similar to what we see on the R8. Kind of just brings the whole thing kind of a little bit more sort of up to date. Moving into the interior. We've got some again, some great features. I love what they've kind of done with the sort of speaker system. There's a lot of aluminium, brushed aluminium effects on the interior. The dashboard and the doors and skins and the seats themselves are pretty much straight out of the Super Series, so they're you know, they're not massively, you know, much different from there. What I would say is I know the whole electronic side of it has all been upgraded. It's the same iris system in terms of its kind of size and the cabin space it takes up, but they've kind of put a bit of a bit more of an upgrade to how it all operates, and they kind of tweaked around with some of the user interfaces. Some things I like, some things that, you know, I'm not that keen of, to be honest. I think you know, McLaren have obviously got a really kind of good name for themselves in terms of the pedigree. Maybe user interface is not quite where they've got their forte, and I think they're probably the first ones to admit that, and they're probably still trying to evolve and develop that user interface. And at the moment, I can see some of the changes they've made probably needs still quite a bit more tweaking, if I'm being honest, but that's me being a bit picky. You know, it's certainly not something to make a car buying decision on, but you know, I think there's still some way to go on that front. So the whole, again, going on to the interior, there's some great things. I like what they've done with the stop-start button here. They've kind of put it behind a sort of bit of a more recessed with a kind of glass top. Very sort of Aston Martin-esque, if I'm honest. This has kind of got a piano black finish, which again looks a lot better than the kind of standard matte plastic that you see on things. It would be a lot better in carbon fibre, which I know is an option that you obviously can get on there. This particular interior is not to my liking. However, I did show this to my 70-year-old father, and he thought it looked absolutely fantastic. Well, to me, it's a bit of a kind of vanilla and toffee ice cream sort of affair. You know, but it's, again, it looks quite nice. One thing I did notice, though, I was driving this later on in the day yesterday, is that there's a kind of a part of the dashboard has got it's been colour coded in black, and what that tends to do is actually reflect back off the windscreen. It almost looks like you've kind of got like a bit of a windshield sat in front of the of the glass. So probably, again, they're not the best colour combination there, but again, that's just me being a bit picky. Now, the steering wheel, it's very futuristic. It really looks like it's just been ripped out of a concept car. Again, very space age, looks really good, but I probably prefer the one, you know, my carbon fibre one that I've got in my 570S. These paddle shifts are lovely, great, you know, great addition. The size of them and this all aluminium, brushed aluminium looks really fantastic. But again, I just think the steering wheel probably, you know, probably didn't need to change from what's in the other range of the cars. Again, on the interior, this is quite interesting. What they've done with some of the LED lighting in here, they've put sort of milled out of some of the aluminium, some light up designs that light actually on this one lights up the footwell as well as the trim itself. Bit of a gimmicky, if I'm honest. You can go in here and kind of select some different colour changes. You know, if it were me doing that, I'd have probably, you know, if you're going to give people an option of choosing between and changing the colour, then why not give them a colour wheel? You know, and choose exactly what colour they want rather than a choice of what 7 or 8 colours. But you know, it has a function, and I think it's a nice little feature that they've got on there. But you know, probably doesn't need to do it. So to say, you know, the car in itself is you know, it does the job anyway. In terms of the roof, I do like this glass roof that's in here. This one's got the option fitted with this different contrasting effect. And there's a special name for it, but like I say, I don't know the full details. But basically what it does is it allows you to adjust the level of light that actually comes in. So effectively the whole roof kind of darkens or lightens up, you know, accordingly depending on your preference. Now the user interface that's on here, again, it's very simple and purposeful, but I can't help feeling like, you know, it's been done by a totally different department or a totally different company altogether than what's made the rest of the car. This interface, it's kind of very much sort of, it's a little bit mappling, if I'm honest. It does the job. You have to press the button a few times for it to kind of get it to work, and you know, it's a great feature, but I think it doesn't quite, for me, kind of sort of gel with, you know, what's going on there. But then again, you know, it's just a small point, but I'm just trying to be honest as I can, really. So what's it like to drive, I suppose, is another question. Well, pretty good. It's again, I don't know the performance figures between this and my current one, but what we'll say, it feels very similar. The whole acceleration, it's again, this is Christmas Eve, I'm filming this. It's not the driest day in the world. It's certainly not the warmest, so I'm not going to be pushing this, and I didn't push this at all. But in terms of what I did feel and what I did notice, you know, it certainly, you know, picked up when it needed to pick up. Now this does have the standard cast iron brakes, so I will be honest, it doesn't stop quite as well as the 570S, which has the carbon ceramics, and I think, you know, it should be something we're putting a standard really on these cars. I know it is an option, and you know, it's probably not a cheap one either, but you know, if it were me, you know, spending, you know, this sort of money that this car is commanding, you know, I think it should be something that they look at putting on. And I know it's not aimed, you know, they put it on, you know, because you get a lot of benefit from carbon ceramics by putting it on track use. But again, a lot of people, you know, will own these cars and not put them on tracks, but they do want that confidence that the car's gonna stop when they want it to stop as well. So yeah, so that's a small thing. The exhaust system on this is quite nice in the sense that when you put the car into normal kind of comfort mode, you know, the exhaust is pretty quiet, and so you can cruise round, you know, villages and towns, you know, without pretty much upsetting everybody around there. You know, I know what, certainly at home, when I start my car at home, you know, there's a few neighbours that do complain a little bit that they get woken up, and I know some of our other members have actually had injunctions put against them. So sometimes, you know, the ability to be able to make a car quiet is a nice feature to have. What's lovely about this, when you do put it in sport mode, you know, you do hear that engine note change massively, and it's a lovely sound when it does change. So that's a big thumbs up from me on that side of it. The whole car itself, it's based on the same monocell tube system that's again on the 570 and 540. So ingress and egress for, you know, a big fella such as myself, is, you know, it's pretty, you know, it's doable. You know, we're not sort of making total arses ourselves at petrol stations. You know, we, you know, can get in and out pretty good. You know, but what I would say, this one has the electric seats, which I know will lose I think approximately about up to an inch in height because of the electrics that kind of go under the seat. But even there in this one, because it's a glass roof, still got, even with my Sirius hat on, still got quite a bit of height in here. So that's obviously pretty good. You know, the electric seats are lovely. You know, but myself, I think once I've got the seat set how I want it, it's probably not going to change anyway. So it probably doesn't need to be electric, and I'd rather be sat lower down than have, you know, fancy electric seats. Which, you know, the buttons on these on I think on all McLarens where they've got electric seats, they're really a bit fiddly. They've done the best they can, because the problem is that, like on other cars, you can put buttons down the sides, but because of the whole monocell system that these are based around, there's no space to be able to put them, so they have to put them kind of at the front, and it's, you know, it's a little bit fiddly. So what else can I talk about? So they tweaked around a little bit the nose lift. The nose lift on here, they've actually moved it from one slot to the other and put it as a button on the end, which, you know, does work. And I do like this toggle where you kind of pull it to lift it. I've got my 570, but the button, you know, it does the job, and it's functional. I think the cruise system is probably a little bit easier to operate in some of the tweaks that they've done on here. So that's so the cruise control's pretty good. You know, the rest of it is pretty simple. The storage space in the back, I discovered yesterday that it actually has a electronic button to actually open and close the rear area, which is, you know, which is good. But as I demonstrated yesterday on my little shopping video, you know, you can close it manually as well. In terms of storage, I mean, yes, you're going to get quite a bit more, you know, a bit more in there, but it's not, you know, it's not a massive amount of practicality, if I'm honest. I think it probably, again, comes down to, you know, how you would use the car, you know, and this is something I'm going to give quite a bit of thought to yesterday. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, if I were turning up at a meeting, in shorts and a t-shirt, the 570, brilliant, all day long, matches it, does the job. If I'm turning up in a suit, this is the car I'd be turning up in, because it has a very, very executive feel. It really does, and that's possibly where the car is potentially marketed at. You know, if you are, you know, as again, a high executive, yeah, you know, this is a supercar you could have and drive every day as your business car if you choose to do that. And yeah, you'd pull up, you know, just like you pull up in a Maserati, Bentley. You know, it's a lovely car, but it's suited to that environment, and my gut feeling is that that's where this car is kind of aimed at. So would I have one? Yes, I would, but not today. You know, where I'm personally, the 570 just has that certain element of excitement and a bit more sort of rawness to it in terms of its feel, and it's a bit younger car, if I'm honest. Now, put another 15 years, 20 years or so under my belt, I'd have one of these all day long. You know, this is for me is a more mature car, and it feels that and looks like more mature. Now, I hope that's what McLaren are aiming at. I don't know. They may be telling me they're aiming at 30-year-olds. I don't know. But for me, that's what I'm kind of feeling from it. So again, it's a lovely car to experience, and you know, definitely. In the flesh, it looks a lot better than it certainly does in the photos, and it's kind of one of those cars that does, you know, you do kind of warm to. So first of all, thanks so much for watching this entire video. You've made it to the end. If you want to see any more of these videos, then please do comment and let us know about it. Your feedback, as always, is super important to us. So yeah, I will log off for now, and I will catch you later next time. Thank you very much.